Greetings all and welcome to Dave's Craftroom, and on today's video I am making a quilt. On this video I'm making a quilt for my very close friends, actually they're more like siblings, Colin and Rachel, and their soon to be born baby. The baby might be born by the time I get the quilt done. I don't even know how long it's going to take, but I need to make a quilt for the mom and dad, Colin and Rachel, that's a friendship quilt. Because I've been friends with them for a very, very long time, even long before they were married. And I originally planned to go to their first wedding, but it was canceled because of the pandemic. They just had a private wedding because the pandemic was in full swing. And I couldn't even go to like be the witness or whatever because I fully had the COVID at the time. I was literally in the quarantine. It's not really a wedding quilt for them. They've already been married. It's just a friendship quilt. And now she's pregnant. So the time is right because I had an idea, or I should say, I saw some inspiration on Pinterest. I saw this image on Pinterest, and I immediately knew that it was something I wanted to make for Colin and Rachel, and then make an outcropping of it, a small one beside it. And then I'm gonna have black silhouettes of airplanes, and it's gonna look like airplanes are flying over fields. And how do I achieve that look? With this Nyberg earth fabric. This is how much I have left. I didn't plan to make a fourth quilt out of it. I only planned to make the 3 because I've already made 3, but obviously I overbought. So this fabric is still in the craft room and needs to be used. And I think this is the perfect idea because this airplane's flying over the planet Earth. I want to try to use the bright prints. I don't know that the dark... No, I can use the dark prints. I just won't have the airplane fly over it. It's basically... If you saw the image, it's I think that's called a stained glass quilt. And I've never made one before, but it's a lot like some of the improv quilts I have made, just with black sashing between it. So that's all I have to do. It is gonna be more of an improv situation. And then I usually just kind of free piece. Now I'll free piece with putting black sashing in between, and I make neighborhoods. And so I'll make enough neighborhoods for a big one and a smaller one for the baby. And I'm gonna put airplanes in it. And you might be thinking, Dave, didn't you already make your married couple friend an aviation themed quilt? I guess we're all aviation enthusiasts. Me and all my friends are aviation enthusiasts. So they're gonna get an airplane quilt too, and they're gonna have one for the baby. And if Colin and Rachel's baby becomes a pilot, I take the credit because I inspired the aviation from young. Obviously, I need to make this child a quilt. I'm gonna be the child's uncle. So, let's get started. Oh, these are the leftover strips. They were organized. They got all disorganized now. Okay, let's get started.
Alright, so the first step is piecing the background, and the technique is pretty straightforward. I start with a rectangle of my fabric. Actually, I'm doing 5 at a time, so 5 rectangles of my fabric. And then I sew an inch wide black fabric strip to one of the 4 sides. It could be any of the sides. Then I sew another rectangle of the colorful fabric to the black sashing strip. Then repeat and choose any one of the 4 sides. The only rules to follow is always sew the colored fabric to black sashing. Never sew colored fabric to colored fabric. I start out by making a long series of sashed 4-patch chunks, and then I use the design wall to figure out how to sew the 4-patch chunks together. The next step is to put airplanes on it. I have projected my airplane image up onto a large piece of paper. The paper is actually from when I moved the packing paper that they used. I saved some of it that wasn't too crumpled to use for craft projects like this, and I made 2 sizes of the airplane. I cut it out of the paper, and then I traced it onto my flexi fuse, and then I cut out the flexi fuse and ironed that onto my fabric to fuse it together. Then I cut out the shapes, leaving a 1/4 inch around the paper. I didn't really measure the 1/4 inch, I just eyeballed it. It doesn't need to be exact. I left that 1/4 inch because I'm going to fold it under. First, I iron it over the paper to crease it. Then I peel the paper out, and then I iron the edge back over again onto the fusible to fuse it down. Now the appliques are ready to put them on the quilt, and I ironed them on to baste it down, and then I'm gonna sew them down as part of the quilting. I always lived very close to Colin and Rachel, even when we were living in the dorms together, and then after school we were working in the same town. But over a year ago I moved away, so unfortunately I can't be there in person to help welcome the baby, but that's why it's such an honor to be able to make quilts for my friends like this, because although I can't be there in person, at least I can send them a quilt. As I was sandwiching the quilt, I had my Dave pincushion on the quilt top on the table, and I shifted the quilt top and it knocked the Dave pincushion off the table.
No! I dropped the Dave thing. My mom made that for me. Rest in peace, Dave. Coffee mug pincushion. It's been real. I will use this pincushion instead from now on. She's cute, she's little.
I used my free motion quilting foot to applique the airplanes down, and I do this at the same time that I'm quilting the whole quilt by outlining all of the rectangles. For the baby quilt, I'm drawing more of a childlike kind of airplane. You can see I have the iPad there for references. And then at this point, you pretty much know the drill. It's the exact same process of the applique again for the baby quilt. So these are the final results, and it's exactly like I envisioned. It looks like the airplanes are flying over the Earth, and at the time that this video is being published, the baby is due next month. So let's send them some well wishes to welcome the new baby to the planet Earth. And that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to my channel, and please come again.